That's the neighborhood that we grew up in, right there. So that is, yeah, that is, where we used to ride bicycles and, move around. So it's interesting to be back and see these places. Yep. Yeah, so right now I'm at the house that we grew up in as children, and that is the house right there. The thing is, it used not to have a fence. Okay, the fence that it had was the hedge, the natural hedge, the natural fence, and you would see through. There was nothing like a gate. This is the famous tree, the mysterious tree that we used to pass by on that road as we went to school, and this is where we used to come. And I remember there was some guava tree we used to pick guavas from, and they were nice guavas. There was a rare type of guavas. The famous school where I started my nursery school, Asaba Primary School, the only school where I failed to be promoted because I couldn't do the pattern for letter A. Yeah, so welcome back to Photo Conversations, where we have conversations about photography, film, and so much more about life. Today the sun is overcast, but man, I don't care. I just have to do this video. It doesn't matter how it looks like right there, but what matters is the information that I would really love to share with you guys. Well, today I happen to be in Masindi. A friend of mine lost his granddad, and I happened, to come and condole with him and just be there with him. But coincidentally, Masindi also happens to be a place that carries my fondest memories, the strongest memories of my childhood, because this is where we grew up. I think when my dad got a transfer, I think from Fort Portal, then he came to Masindi and became he was transferred as the district agriculture officer at that time. So we spent, I would say, the first quarter of life, right here. The first years of life, talking like, say, for example, from 2 years to around 5-6 years. So this is where the story of Watanda starts, in Masindi district. We studied here. I studied in a primary school called Asaba Primary School, and one of the biggest memories I have about that school is when I was coming from kindergarten, and I was supposed to be promoted to primary one. That's P1. I failed the promotional exam, and that exam was doing the pattern of letter S. And there was Dan. Dan was one of my closest friends, and they were our family friends. But at that time, we used to go to school together, and we were doing the exams, and I failed to do the pattern of letter S, and that is how I didn't, move to P1, because I wasn't able to write. And that is how Dan now is, of course, ahead of me by one class till to date. That gap is always there. Yeah. So Masindi has profound memories for me as a person, and when I came to attend my friend's grandfather's funeral, something came to me, and I felt I should share it with you. Why is it important to curate memories, to carefully, thoughtfully, and intentionally curate memories for posterity? Here in Africa, we are not very good at keeping memories and curating these moments for posterity, for our children, or for our great-grandchildren. We don't really put as much effort as we should. I know someone. I'm just going to give you an example. For example, one would say, why would it matter for you to know or to see the spoon that Adolf Hitler used when he was a child? Or why would it be important for you to know, or maybe to see or to come into contact with the shoes that Mussolini once put on, while he was maybe 5 or 6 years? So all these things to most people seem insignificant. Why would you want to know the trail that Gipir and Labongo, walked through as they separated? Why is it important to know this history, and why is it important to curate it? Photographers and filmmakers, in my opinion, are the custodians and are the conservationists of people's memory through filming and through keeping photos and stuff like that. But with the advent of the smartphone and the technologies that make curating memories much easier, even then curating memories has become a lot more difficult. People can take photos on their smartphones, but when you ask, do you have a photograph of maybe of your graduation, someone is going to try to scramble through, and they'll say things like, I lost the other phone, or my memory card, or things like that. But so today I just want to share with you why I really feel that we should curate our memories and preserve them for posterity. And reason number one is curating memories or preserving memories enable. Let me put it this way. Curating memories enables us to transfer very valuable information to the generations that come after us. I'll give you an example. When you look at, for example, maybe a photograph of your dad in the 90s, and then you'll be able to see the kind of clothes he put on, you'll be able to see the kind of car he drove, you'll be able to see the kind of lifestyle he lived just through an image. And how does that become of importance? Knowing the kind of life that someone lived, or knowing the way of life that someone led, has so much an impact on who you become. So it is very important to look back and pick this information from these images. So the other thing is curating memories enables us to transfer tradition to the next generation. And tradition in this sense would be probably a set of values that a certain group of people has deemed reasonable and deemed deemed reasonable for the generation to take on as the guiding principles. So when we curate memories, like for example images and videos and documentaries, through that we are able to transfer the values that we want our children and great-grandchildren to have. I'll give you an example. Say, for example, if we always pray before we have a meal, or if we always pray before we go to bed, if we document this, then the next generation is able to know, okay, my parents used to do this, my great-grandfather used to do this, and then it's transferred to the next generation as a value, as a core value that can be taken on. So that is one of the reasons why you should be very, very keen with curating memories and trying to document things such that the next generation can benefit. Yeah, well, the other thing that I've realized with curating memories and keeping these memories or documenting them through photography and film is that memories evoke emotion, and emotion evokes action. I would say memories are not simply memories. We try to oversimplify them and be like, that's just a photograph, or that's just a video, or that's just an information bite about my father or my grandmother and things like that. But the truth is there is a certain latent energy that is kept within memories, and that is why I say memories are able to evoke an emotion. I'll give you an example. If, say, for example, you kept these cassettes, these cassette tapes that you would play, and then a song, and you play a song that maybe you listened to as a child, there's a certain emotion that is stirred inside of you. There's an emotion that is unlocked. So these memories evoke that emotion, and that emotion leads to action. And in a more productive way, I'll give an example of where, say, for example, if your father was a doctor, or if your mother was a writer, or if they were doing anything that is very productive and important to society, and you learn about it, chances are that you will be able to pick the energy from the memory and act accordingly. You know, it also works in the negative way. For example, if you're able to look at maybe a photograph or a video and know that maybe you had a dark background, it could also help you to, to figure out that probably the only way to stop this history from repeating itself is by maybe acting differently. You take a different course of action just to avert the history, or to stop the history from leaking into the present. So that is why I think keeping memories is very important. I know most African people, most Ugandans, I'm sorry to stereotype, but it's where I've lived, and I know who we are. I've been to events and people will spend lots of money to get food. People will spend lots of money to get a tent and do the decor. But when it comes to photography and film, they will try to negotiate you down to the last coin or to the last penny. And that clearly shows you what value they hold for curating memories. It's clear that people in Uganda, people in Africa generally, do not find value in curating memories, and it's a sad and bitter truth. But I would say, moving forward, we need to begin curating these memories because they are very, very important. It's very important to keep memories so that we can evoke the emotion that will evoke the action, such that we can transfer tradition to our next generation, so that we can transfer valuable, crucial information to the next generation. So guys, I'm still enjoying Masindi. I'm going to show you the home we grew up in. I don't know whether we'll be able to see it. Maybe could find it's a no-go zone, or maybe it's out of bounds. Then I'll show you the school where I studied. Then then there's another playfield that we used to play from. So so I've gotten this off my heart, and hopefully you learned something. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Photo Conversations Uganda, and let's keep this going, man. Let's keep this moving. See you on the next one. Cheers.